This video is part of the Recreation Inspiration playlist, hosted every month by Amanda and Charlene. I'll tell you a little bit more about them and the playlist after the first project. Project number 1. Beach jar. This is just a little jar full of nautical beachy things. I'm using a paint palette knife to just pop off that silver part on top, and I'm going to reapply it on the back. So we're working on the back now. That's going to be our new front. So this was originally done by Michelle at Michelle's Cozy Home, and I love that she used sandpaper. I don't know why, but I would think Mod Podge the sand. But there's her version in the bottom left there. So I was just... it's from 2 years ago. It was part of our Heidi Sombel's Heidi Sombel did a playlist, and there was like 100 people or more, and it was playing as I was doing things, and when Michelle's video came up, it sucked me in, so I knew I had to do it. So I glued down the sandpaper using the Elmer's wood glue. And then the rest of the jar, except for the top there, gets a coat of white chalk paint. And just one coat, because I'm not going for full coverage. I'm just going for getting white behind the napkin. And it took me a minute to choose a napkin. I pretty much just chose it on how the top part of the napkin looked, because the image flips. So when the image on the bottom is right, but then as you go up, the image flips over. It's just the way it's folded and stuff. And so I basically just picked a napkin that looked better both ways. I set the jar aside with the Mod Podge drawing and worked on the messy bow. And I just get into these messy bows. Like when I saw Michelle did a messy bow, I'm like, oh, I haven't done one for so long. And I got all excited and forgot all the stuff you were supposed to do. Like the bottom strips are supposed to be the widest, and then you trim them as you put them on. And I was just like cutting pieces off and laying it down and everything. So a word of advice, just pay attention to where in the messy bow you're placing those strips, and, compensate and cut some of them smaller. So see, I have some nice blues on there, but you don't really see them because they should have been a wee bit longer. But such is life. So I do the messy bow, and then I'm like, I bought this cool ribbon at Dollar Tree specifically to put in this messy bow. It's one of the few times I actually bought something with a specific project in mind. So yeah, gotta have them on there. So I just added them to the top and tied them on with another bow. So that's... or another knot. So that's 2 knots on the back. I set that aside because the Mod Podge was dry. Now, you can do your favorite way of doing things like this. I know people use the glue sticks. I know people use regular glue. I know people use Mod Podge or the iron method like I'm doing here, only I wish I had Mod Podge. I made my own, but it's too watery, so it worked barely. So you'll see me sanding the edges and trimming off the top. And then I'm taking this clear spray and I go outside like right away and, give it a good dose of that. And I did that because I was hoping it would help it stay on better. But I knew I was going to do a border, which I'm doing right here. And I believe this is just called nautical rope. I've had this white rope in my stash and really haven't used it. I've been using the brown rope. So this was a good opportunity to use the white rope because it's pretty and I like it. And now I'm going through my collection of nautical and beachy odds and ends that I purchased at Dollar Tree in my most recent Dollar Tree haul just a few days ago. I hadn't been for months. But actually, one of my fellow creators, I think it was Emily from Farm Charm Chic, she was showing some things in her video, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go to Dollar Tree. But yeah, you'll see how I glued down some little shells and larger shells in addition to this white sand dollar and dark blue starfish. It was kind of fun. It was like a little camp craft or something, but I will give you guys a better look at this during the final reveal. Okay, jumping in with a little bit more information about the playlist. It's called Recreation Inspiration, and the idea is to find a project or a creator that inspires you and then recreate something that they've made. It happens every month on the 8th. Our hosts are Amanda from 6 Kids and a Glue Gun and Charlene from Crafty Art Shack. There's also a guest host every month. This month's guest host is Lolly from Lolly D's Creations. So their channel links, as well as a link to the playlist, will be in my description box below. So check them out first and then check out the rest of the creators, because there's always something awesome to enjoy. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of my video. Project number 2. Nautical Jar. The next 2 projects are inspired by Corie from Crafted by Corie. Got this cute little jar from the Shore Living line from Dollar Tree. I really like the handle on it, and I'm going to keep the handle, but for the moment I'm going to take it off so I can do the painting and everything. So I gave the whole jar a good thick coat of white chalk paint, and then I went back and sort of filled in where parts of the blue were still showing through. And then I also did a little bit more inside because I wasn't sure how much of the inside was going to show. So I did that. At some point I decided I was going to put some little Dollar Tree lavenders in there. So at the end I put in a sponge and flowers, and I didn't catch that on video, but you'll see it in the final reveal. For now, I found that I could follow the little bumps on the jar, and that helped me keep a straight line all the way across. So that was kind of nice. I didn't have to worry about taping it off or anything. And I just took my time. It seems like such a small amount to paint, but I really was very careful about filling it all in and making sure no white was popping through, because the nature of that design, you know, there'd be parts where it bumped up that wouldn't have been covered all the way. So once everything was dry, I returned the metal part to the top lip of the jar. But before I put the handle on, I wanted to wrap it in twine, and I just did that by tying a single knot on the bottom there, and then a small bead of glue at the beginning, and maybe a couple small ones on the way, but another one on the other side after it's been wrapped. And that's pretty much it. I popped in those flowers, and I will give you a better look at the final reveal. Project number 3. I call this one Relax. We're starting out with an 11 by 14 canvas, not a stretched canvas, but just a canvas. There's Corie's version in the bottom left, and I'll show you how I did my version. So I did tape off some of the blocks, as it's basically blocks of color. Corie used wood. She had some spare wood. The wood I had was not big enough, so I got this 11 by 14 canvas from Dollar Tree. I rubbed some burnt umber on it just to have that in the background, and then I just taped it off and did some painting. I tried to do tapping or dabbing along the edges if I had the tape there, but I also just used my flat paintbrush to help me bring it right up to the edge, because I was planning on sanding between the color blocks anyway. So I just did what was fun, you know. Sometimes I taped it wrong and things were skinnier or fatter than they should have been, and that was okay because it ended up looking really cool, and like I meant for it to be that way. So there I am taking up the last of the tape. I purposefully made that last square on the bottom corner there a lighter color because I'm going to come in with a cricket
stencil. Now, it's not a stencil per se. Oh, there, see? That was the relax word that I had. I got that at Dollar Tree. But when I put it up on the canvas, it was just way too big. So as far as this Cricut stencil goes, I basically just do it on a regular piece of permanent vinyl. And I just do it the opposite. So if I'm usually saving the letters, this time I'm taking the letters off. So you see on your left, you'll see the letters that I took off. And now I'm, there's a lot of steps to this one. I'm basically trying to, I put a piece of transfer tape on top, and now I'm trying to peel off the backing and still keep all the little in-between parts. And finally got that done. And you know me and Cricut, it takes me a long time to do it. So this is deceptively quick, what I'm showing you here. But trust me, it took a little while. I finally got the stencil down. And then this is probably the easiest part of all, is just getting rid of this last bit of transfer tape here. But the thing about stencils is your work is not done yet. Now you actually have to paint and then remove it again. Whereas if you had been doing letters, you would be finished by now. But I wanted to do paint. I just felt like it was going to go better. I felt like the vinyl might seem out of place and too shiny. So I used foam dabber. I swear by these foam dabbers or foam paintbrushes, whatever you want to call them. And I love using them for paint. I love the effect I get. And also I've been noticing for peeling up stuff when I'm doing stencils, to let it dry to just a little tackiness. So not totally wet, but not totally dry either. I find that helps the edges. And that helped on the color blocks as well, too. I left the tape on for just a couple minutes and then took it off. And I was quite happy with the result. Now I folded my sandpaper and used the folded edge to go in between the different blocks of color. And then I also went over the actual color with the flat part of the sandpaper. Better look at the final reveal. The final reveal. If you haven't already subscribed, you'll have a chance to do so when you get to the end screen. Just click on my photo. There's also a video suggestion there. If you feel like checking out something else of mine, just click on that video. Otherwise, sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the reveal.